So, would you like a roadmap to see how you can get a five-figure agency through SMMA? Well, let's talk about it. And if this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, hey, hello, my name is Evan, and I run my own SMMA digital marketing agency, specializing in paid traffic, so Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I've actually relocated. I'm in Vancouver Island right now for a few months, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I do. I'm also train SMMA owners on the side as well, help people get their first high quality client, as well as scale up to five figures. And that's why I made this video, because I wanted to give you the roadmap to a five-figure agency, because it's really hard when you're combating the YouTube algorithm. So many people say that, oh, it's so easy to be able to learn social media marketing, all the information that's there, it's all available on YouTube. Well, YouTube's a multi-billion dollar, actually, I should say, machine. I think Google was evaluated at almost $180 billion just this year. It's probably going to be going up even more since a lot of the top 1% are actually increasing their value. Just look at Jeff Bezos and his income and how much Amazon has gone up since the beginning of the you-know-what back in March. But yeah, that's the big thing, is being able to have a roadmap, because when you're combating against YouTube and its algorithm, YouTube is actually a company that wants to keep your eyeballs on the platform. So it won't help you actually take action and get your eyeballs off the platform, because they want your eyeballs to stay on the platform. They don't want you to go out there and actually get the work done. And that's one of the benefits of doing a training program or getting a coach or getting some help. And if you're looking to get some agency help for yourself, you can book a call with me down in the description, as well as in the comment section. I'm going to be posting a link in there, and you could book and schedule a time with me where we can talk about your agency, what your goals are, all that sort of stuff. But for this video, I wanted to give you a roadmap to a five-figure agency, so that when you take a step back, you have everything there, instead of having to look through YouTube yourself, spend hours at a time, if not days, if not weeks, trying to find the right information. I literally have a step-by-step, as if we're walking up a set of stairs, one at a time, process on how I did my how I made my agency a five-figure agency, and how I'm able to help other people scale up their business to five figures. And I wanted to give you the roadmap to that. So inside of this video, I wanted to put a free module of Agency Supremacy, which is my training program. I wanted to do a free video or free module for you on YouTube, so that you can see what the program is like, as well as get some pretty cool value out of it, because I talk about the agency business structure, which is literally the roadmap on how to get a five-figure agency. As soon as you can figure out what the baseline and what the structure of an agency is, you literally have the map yourself and the instructions for yourself to take you from not having any clients whatsoever all the way to getting a five-figure agency. So that's above $10,000, which is quite a bit of money, especially when you're starting out your agency. And I've seen people hit that mark in a couple months with the teachings of Agency Supremacy. Some people, I've seen it 6 months or a year later. It's really, really crazy what you can do when all the information is just there on a roadmap, instead of just trying to find the information yourself and combat against the algorithm, which tries to keep your eyeballs on the platform and doesn't want you to take action at the end of the day. So there's really a few very basic things when you want to learn about an agency before we get into the free module. You got to learn how to do outreach, because the more outreach that you do, the more meetings that you can book, and you want to start scheduling meetings for your business after you choose a niche and all that sort of stuff, and what kind of businesses that you want to focus on. Third one is how to conduct those meetings for yourself and the build up to those meetings, so that you can build rapport before you even have to meet your prospect. And next one is how to close people on meetings, and then that's through an onboarding process. And as soon as you get your onboarding process all done, then you have the client retention, and client retention is just as equally as important. And inside the onboarding process, there's contracts as well as payments, expectations, all that sort of good stuff. As soon as you're able to get those few things down, the agency is going to be much easier. Building out a 5-figure agency is going to be much easier for you than when you have to kind of find the information out for yourself. And that's one of the benefits of learning from someone who's done it before, is that they can tell you how they did it exactly, instead of having to depend on so much other types of information and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, enough of me rambling, all that sort of good stuff. Let's get to the free module inside of Agency Supremacy, and this is video number 4 inside of module 1, and this is entitled ABS, which is the agency business structure in an abbreviated form. And if you watch all the way to the end of the training video, I have a little bit of a surprise in there for you, so be sure to watch all the way to the end. And yeah, once again, my name is Evan, and if you're into social media marketing and you're into agency life, you can hit the subscribe button to follow me. I'm up to all sorts of weird, wacky things with the agency, being an agency owner. It's a lot different than having a job, all that sort of stuff, if you're not someone that's familiar with social media marketing. But yeah, if you got some value from this video, be sure to hit a like, share it, all that sort of good, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, let's get to the video. Welcome to video 4 inside of module 1 of Agency Supremacy, and this video is entitled ABS, and ABS, which stands for Agency Business Structure. And if you don't have strong ABS, then you're kind of screwed. So you need to be able to understand the agency business structure so that it becomes a lot more foolproof for yourself, and you have a lot less limiting beliefs, because there's so many limiting beliefs when people go into creating an online business or creating an online agency. It's like, oh, will this work for me? I don't completely understand it. And in this video, we're going to be covering all of that. So this is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover what an online agency is, how an online agency works, and we're going to be covering something a bit different in the third one. It's going to be a paid traffic agency versus other agency types. So I'm going to be selling you on why I think paid traffic and an advertising agency is the best form of agency. But there's so many people that go through this program and have already gone through this program that don't just have an ads agency. One of the students in this program, Cam Gallagher, he runs a website and SEO agency. So that's not anything to do with paid traffic, and he's getting incredible success with his own business. So yeah, I'm just here to kind of sell you on the paid traffic side, but just remember that just remember to be open to the idea of paid traffic. If you came in here with the idea of paid traffic and want to know a bit more about it, that's definitely the slides for you. But yeah, but other than that though, let's get started. For today's quote, I have noticed that agencies which are full of fun and ferment seem to create the best advertising. If you are not happy in advertising, for goodness sake, find a job in which you would be happy. For as far as I know, we pass this way only once. And that's from the advertising king himself, David Ogilvy. I highly recommend for you to get any of David Ogilvy's books as well. Incredible pioneer of 20th century advertising, mostly with long form advertising, which has made an incredible comeback with the growth of digital advertising and Facebook ads with watch time. So great advertiser, great copywriter, and I definitely recommend his books for you to read. So what is an online agency? And before we get into an online agency, I want to talk a bit more about an agency in general, for what people think of an online agency when they first kind of think about it, and what they associate with it. So an agency is a business, firm, or organization that provides a specific service. Often, but not always, agencies work on behalf of another group, business, or person. So that just gets into the specifics of an agency and of the term of an agency. And so this is something to keep in the back of your mind when someone asks you, like, oh, what's an online agency? And then you just kind of refer them to this. And we're going to be going over a little bit of specifics of agency examples. And the first one is a business agency. So that's something that we're doing right now. So that can either be a brick and mortar place or it can be an online agency as well. So that's the form of business agency. So it's someone that works in B2B business. They work with businesses to attract B2C customers usually, or they are direct from business to consumer as the agency itself. But it's mainly you're working with other businesses for their own clientele. That's what an agency is used for in the business sense. For government is a form of agency, literally a form of agency. It's an organization that provides a specific service. So every single government is actually an agency in its own definition. So anyone that says like, the government is always just a form of agency, but it's just a bit more structured, and they may or may not put a gun to your head to force you to pay taxes with the threat of the state. So, but that's another topic for another time. And the third one is news and nonprofit. So news nonprofits, that's another form of agency. So news agency, because their ultimate goal is to deliver a service, which is the news in itself. And the news, while it could, and I do firmly believe this, that it should coincide with the business side of an agency, since the news is out there to sell products and advertising space in order for it to remain viable as a business. Like a lot of news programs today, over half of it, if you're watching a news broadcast, like from your local news or anything like that, 6 to 7 o'clock news, half of the stories inside there, not even the ads, but the ads that are in between the newscasts, but half of the stories are actually just ads. If you go deep enough into it, half of them are actually just ads, and a lot of them are syndicated ads. So they're sold to a whole bunch of different local stations. Look into it. It's been going on for a very long time. A lot of the news that were delivered as, in quotations, news is just advertising space. So I would like to put it into a business side, but news should be on its own as its own category. Because there is people out there that literally all they do is just kind of talk about the news. There's a lot of independent media out there as well, who only go on, who only continue their service through donations, and they don't take ad space or anything like that, which they could be considered as a nonprofit organization. So a nonprofit is also another agency example. So nonprofits, environmental nonprofits, entrepreneurship nonprofits. There's so many different types of nonprofits that are out there for me to even explain as examples for right now. But yeah, these are the three core different agency examples for you to have in the back of your mind. But what we're mainly going to be focusing on is 1.1 here, which is the business side of the agency. So how does an online agency work then? Economics of brick and mortar agencies versus online agencies. And I just want to use an example called the Expedia model for this. So if you're not aware of what Expedia is the #1 destination for planning out your travel, holiday, booking hotels. You can book your travel, flights, car rentals, everything is all on Expedia. So in the olden days, before the internet and before you could have had an online agency, the majority of people, when they were planning a trip and they didn't want to be involved with every aspect of the trip, or they're planning ahead and they're doing their due diligence and they're organizing themselves, they would usually go to a travel rep or a travel agency, which is a physical brick and mortar agency for them to go and book their travels from. So they would have a literal travel agent. And most people, including my parents as well, they had a travel agent that they would go to before the internet, before the 2000s, when the internet became a lot more prominent for you and a lot more trustworthy and more businesses would start to go on to the internet where the more commerce was happening. So people were more willing to give up information on the internet. It became a lot more trustworthy because the internet used to be a place where where there's a lot of identity theft and all that sort of stuff. And now that there's a lot more security and private safety that goes on with the internet now, it's actually become a lot more safer to do commerce on the internet. But back in the day, it really wasn't. So most people just went to a physical brick and mortar travel agency to book their whole trip. And so with that travel agency, there were so many costs to be associated with just having a travel agency. So you had employees there that you had to pay for the agents, and then there was always a commission that went along with each sale. So a lot of the time, travel agents would try to pressure certain type of holidays or pick certain type of places and stuff, and they almost didn't have their clients' best interest in heart with it. While the Expedia model is literally ingenious, because Expedia is the world's largest travel agency today, and they just don't do anything. They literally just host other competing businesses on their website for ads for space on for their own data and their own customers. So what I mean by that is, when someone goes on Expedia and they want to book a flight somewhere, they're trying to book a hotel and stuff, companies that would be in the hotel industry or in the flight industry will actually pay Expedia money to put their stuff first on their website, so that the clientele that are on Expedia, they would go on and click on it, and then they would book it right then and there. And Expedia would get a cut of every single time someone would book a place from somewhere, no matter if it's a hotel, a flight, a car, one of those adventure excursions. Expedia would get a cut from every single thing, and all they did was just host the data and host the space on a website, instead of having a physical brick and mortar place where they had agents trying to sell people these vacation packages. So Expedia literally just had it as a brochure on their website, and the traffic came, and all Expedia really had to do was just do a big market, a whole bunch of marketing campaigns to get people to come onto the website, so that they could collect emails, collect customer information, and all that sort of stuff. And the scalability of it is way bigger than a physical location, because a physical location is limited by the amount of people who live near that location, while Expedia, anyone can access it with an internet connection. So that's the big economic difference between a brick and mortar and an online agency. It's that Expedia is the largest travel agency now in the world, instead of those physical kiosk travel agency brick and mortar places. So that's just a core example of the difference between a brick and mortar agency versus an online agency, and it's through the Expedia model. Limiting beliefs of having an online agency. So I kind of touched on it a little bit in the last slide, but these are the three big limiting beliefs: that you need to meet in person, you must have a commercial office, so an office space, and you must have dozens of employees and staff members in order to run the agency itself. So what I'm going to say with this is that meeting in person, that's kind of a myth as well. It wastes an insane amount of time, energy, especially when you have an agency that is global as well. And I talk to people from around the world. People that are inside this program right now are from around the world. You know the amount of time and energy it would take for me to physically fly out to all the locations of people that are inside of this program? That's just asinine, and I wouldn't be able to teach every single one of you any of this stuff. So the internet has really allowed us to save time and save energy while just meeting through a screen, which is an incredible technological achievement. And it's something that was, I think it was in A Space Odyssey. I think it was 1961 or 1969. 2001, A Space Odyssey. That's what it's called. I was thinking of the date of the year when the film was made, but back in the 60s, they had all of this, they literally had Skype in this movie about 2001 that was made in the 60s. They literally had Skype on there. And yeah, so people in the older times, they dreamed of this day that we would have this technological achievement where we're able to communicate with people with just through computers and just through screens and stuff. And now that we have it, it's an incredible blessing to be alive today in order for us to achieve In order for us to go through with this technological achievement, it's much, much easier, much, much cheaper for us to be able to communicate with people from around the world. And so meeting in person is an incredible, it's a big myth that you need to meet with someone when you have an online agency, or even an agency in general. And the need for a fancy office, all you need in order to run your digital agency is a laptop, a camera, and a microphone. That's literally it. That's all that you need in order to get started. I guess an internet connection, but that goes along with the laptop. Of course, you're going to need an internet connection as well, but that's all you need are those three physical elements plus internet in order to start running an agency. So you don't need a fancy office with an expensive payroll. So there's no need for a vast, expensive staff and employees in order to grow and scale your online agency. You can literally just grow and scale your online agency with a couple contractors. So it's a big myth that you need to have an expensive payroll, you need a fancy office, and that you need to meet in person. That is a myth that most people have. And after this current coronavirus pandemic, the majority of businesses, like everything's been kind of flipped upside down a little bit, where now these brick and mortar companies are now starting to go more online and start to be more comfortable with talking to people online and stuff. So yeah, we're seeing it before our eyes, that the change of this mindset in the general population. So right now people are becoming more open to not having to meet in person, that you may not even need to have a fancy office, and you definitely don't need an expensive payroll as well in order to scale your business. So yeah, I just wanted to mention these limiting beliefs for you, because this is what a lot of people have when they think of an agency, no matter what it is, a business, government, news, nonprofit. You don't need any of this stuff. All you need are systems and processes. And this replaces all of those three of those limiting beliefs about having an online agency. All you need is the systems and processes in order to build out your online agency. And this is what this program is for. It's for implementing those systems and processes so that you can have a machine running without having to spend money on an exorbitant amount of staff, which is what we used to have to do. Now, a lot of the stuff is all computer learning and all AI. And a lot of it is software as well. Software has replaced a lot of the things that we used to use physically. So yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. And this is what this program is about. It's about building systems and processes in order for us to run our agency, so that it might seem like there's 20 people working behind the scenes, but it's because you've organized it so well that it seems like there's 20 people working behind the scenes, but really it's just a lot of AI and machine learning and software. And think of it as like this tree. Like most people, when they this is an old growth forest as well. So this is in the woods in Western British Columbia, on Western Vancouver Island. In the old growth area of the forest where I think it was banned from logging and stuff. And most people go out there and they see, and the general interpretation of when they see these trees, like, oh wow, these are huge, like this is amazing, these are beautiful trees. But these trees needed to start from somewhere. And when we view these trees as the big trees and that they're already structured and built, we don't see what happened behind the scenes and what happened hundreds of years before. And not to say that your agency is going to outlive over 100 years or anything like that, but this is the kind of mindset that we need to use for behind the scenes of when they come in, and either prospects or outsiders or even clients, when they look at our agency, we want them to see the tree like this huge tree, firmly built. It has its systems and processes already developed, and it means business. Instead of looking at a very small, tiny shrub bush that may or may not survive, this tree looks like it can withstand a lot of shit. So yeah, that's the big thing about your agency, is you're trying to give it the appearance that there's so many people working behind the scenes, that there is a fancy office somewhere or anything like that. It's to give that general interpretation that this is a well-built agency filled with systems and processes. And software and technology has allowed us to be able to build this type of old growth tree so much quicker for our agency. So I hope that metaphor made sense to you. But it's one of my favorite metaphors, is that most people, they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They only see the output and the kind of the finalized version of it. And that's what most people see when they go into this old growth forest, is that they only see the final output. And this is what I want our agencies to look like at the end of this program. So now is the time when I'm going to almost sell you a little bit on paid traffic versus other agency types. So yeah, sorry, I was just trying to get one of my clear thoughts for this one, because like, in all honesty, you don't need a paid traffic agency in order to be successful. There's so many other types of businesses, but paid traffic is the one that's allowed me to scale the quickest in the shortest amount of time. So that's why I'm very firm and fond of paid traffic and digital advertising, because there's a huge amount of excess from traditional media advertising methods like newspapers, print media, radio, television. There's a huge exodus from it because people aren't really paying attention to those anymore, and people are more on social media, Google, Facebook, and all this sort of stuff. So this is why paid traffic, I believe, is the greatest form of agency and online agency right now. So these are the pros and cons of an online agency, online paid traffic agency. So scalability. The best way to scale a product or service is through paid traffic. And I believe that 150 million times percent. That is the number one way to scale your business, either through paid traffic of a physical product or service, but you can even scale your social media presence as well with paid traffic much easier at a much cheaper rate than waiting and doing it the organic way and doing it maybe through some affiliates and influencer marketing and stuff. I believe that targeted paid traffic is the best way to scale your business, 100%. And the majority of people already have money. So those that are already running paid traffic, and we will go in and like see how you're able to see and find out if a business or company is already running paid traffic, especially online digital paid traffic. Those that are already running paid traffic, no matter if it's traditional media or even new media, they already have the money to pay you if they're already doing advertising. So they're going to be more willing and more accepting of an agency to take over their advertising because they already have the money there than if you're convincing someone who's just starting a social media channel on, oh, we need to get you on to like SEO and all this sort of stuff. It's a completely different language for them. While people who are already advertising, they already kind of understand the language already, and they already have that money there in order to pay you because they have advertising budget. So yeah, that's why I love paid traffic, because the money is already there. It's just about creating that trust bond and that relationship. And it's also ROI traceable. So if your client wants to see results, just log into your business manager to see. The results are all right there, especially in the Facebook business manager. You can have a look and see what all the results are and all the numbers and stuff. And that's something that I'm going to be giving you a sheet later on in one of the next modules that you can give to your contractor, that your contractor can go over with your client, so that they don't have to log into Facebook Business Manager at all. All they have to do is just look at this doc form, and they have all the results already there for them. So yeah, it is ROI traceable, and that's something that is missing in a lot of other advertising, like print media. You don't know how many eyeballs are on or paying attention to an ad in print media. Like a bus stop ad, for example, they sell the amount of foot traffic around a bus stop advertisement, or they sell the amount of cars that drive through. But how many of those cars do you know actually look and pay attention and interact with that ad? You have no idea. While Facebook ads, you can physically see how many people clicked on the ad, how many people clicked through on the ad, so clicked on the website and actually visited the landing page. You can see all that information, so you can see behavior levels. And that's what I really love, is that it's ROI traceable. So ROI is return on investment. So for those of you that didn't know that, and I was just making no sense to you guys who are brand new newbies to this, but
But yeah, that's why I absolutely love it, is that it is ROI traceable and all the data is just right there for you. And it's fully accessible for yourself, your contractors, as well as your client. And some of the cons for paid traffic that I do have to mention, and because not everything is all sunshine and daisies, paid traffic, it is hard to learn. Business Manager and the Facebook artificial intelligence, those things are pretty hard to learn. Like a lot less so the Business Manager. It's more about organizing and understanding how the Business Manager side kind of works. But the Facebook AI is something to really hone in and really learn from. And the algorithm changes literally weekly. And you have to stay on top of it. The Facebook AI, like it's really weird, the AI. Not even necessarily weird, but the Facebook AI itself knows humans better than humans know humans. So ads that would work, like say photo ads, for example, Facebook knows that people really like greenery. So like trees, grass, all this sort of stuff. So if you use trees and grass in your backgrounds of your ads, people are going to be looking at them because people have, it's a biological sense and in the subconscious of humans to be attracted to greenery, because where did we come from? We came from shrubberies over 100,000 years ago, the plains of Africa 100,000 years ago, which was just green shrubbery. So humans, when they see green, it's like livelihood. There's water around and there's life around. It's a big subconscious level where why green really works in advertising, as well as oceans and water as well. Though that really works too. Blue skies. Blue skies people really love, as well as oceans, rivers, lakes. And another thing as well is that the Facebook algorithm also reads faces too. So it can read if someone's smiling, upset, depressed. Sorry about that. And it can also know, it also knows when there's like someone's wearing sunglasses, someone's graduating from school, someone's having a wedding. The Facebook AI knows all of this stuff, and it will boost it up to the top of feeds because it knows human conscience as well as subconscious better than we do, which is really, really scary actually. But it's something to keep in mind when people are running successful ad campaigns. They're utilizing all this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind when learning about the Facebook ads. It's not that easy to be able to learn. And a lot of it has to do with split testing and see what works, what doesn't work, and all that sort of stuff. Difficult to get starters. So if there's no data and a lack of proof of concept with the product or service that you're selling, it will be extremely difficult to get started. And especially when there's no data or anything like that. And that's why my agency only works with people who have advertising dollars. That's the first thing, but they already have an email list or data already on their website. So they have a pixel installed, and a pixel is something I'm going to explain a bit later on. But they already have data from people clicking onto the website, as well as a big email list and a customer list and all that sort of stuff. So it is difficult to get started. If someone's just starting a social media channel and they're going from brick and mortar, and the first thing that they're doing from a brick and mortar is they just built a website, they just built social media channels, and they're doing paid traffic right away. That while you can do it, you're going to need a lot of money, and it's very difficult for starters to be able to do it, especially people that don't have a ton of money to be able to get started with doing an ad campaign with zero data. So yeah, we're going to be talking about retargeting and all that sort of stuff, and why I think it's a huge beneficial benefit for it. But that's one of the cons as well. And another one is copywriting. Copywriting is an extremely difficult skill to learn, especially copy when you're writing advertisement, long form, short form, medium form. Words, different call to actions, and all this sort of stuff. It's an extremely difficult skill to learn, and that's also another con that is on for having a digital ad agency. But you can always outsource that. But you should learn copywriting if you have a paid traffic agency and you're doing advertising as your agency. You should know copywriting. You should definitely know copywriting, because how are you going to hire someone if you have no idea what's good copy or what's bad copy? So yeah, that's something also to keep in mind for the pros and cons for a digital agency. And growth potential of paid traffic. So these are the growth potential aspects that I kind of touched on a little bit. But the growth potential of paid traffic is enormous. So Facebook has data on everyone, even people without Facebook profiles. Facebook still has data on them, and and that's from something called a Facebook pixel. And a Facebook pixel is a little Chrome extension that you can see whether or not a company has a tool through their Facebook business page connected with their website, so that they're tracking customer information for their Facebook business page, so that when they're doing different types of advertising, they can retarget specific behaviors. So you can use a pixel on your landing pages or websites to be able to utilize this powerful tool of data collection, because data at the end of the day is worth more money than gold, at least from what I believe. It's almost like liquid gold data. So email lists, customer lists, people who visited websites but hopped off. It's all valuable information that you're going to be able to use for targeting. You're able to retarget potential customers and prospects for on Facebook. You can retarget them for anyone who's interacted with your business or website or anything like that online. You can retarget them for up to 6 months on Facebook, which is incredible. That's a very powerful tool. And what's even more powerful is that you can retarget people for a full year, 365 days of a potential customer or client who interacted with your Instagram, which is incredible. So that's even someone who just clicked on your profile, or they liked a photo like 250 days ago. You can still retarget them for advertising. And you can also create a lookalike audience as well. So a lookalike audience is a type of audience that is really, really useful inside of Facebook, where Facebook will take information of people who visited your website, and then it will find different people. So it won't retarget those same 1,000 people. It'll retarget, say, another 1,000 people who are similar to those 1,000 people who visited your website, which is very creepy. I know it's very creepy, but that's just the times that we live in right now. And we're able to utilize this customer information because Facebook has this data on everyone. So it's kind of creepy, but yeah, it's like what I mentioned. We got to be able to utilize these tools for our agency. If the tools are out there, like and you're not using them, someone else will, and they will take advantage. And there's a lot of companies that are starting to utilize this a lot better. So, and it's also good for top of mind brand awareness. So, want to know why people go to McDonald's all the time? It's not because of the food. It's not because of the coffee or anything like that. Well, I say it's for the food, but it's really like not really for the food. Even though the food is there designed to make you addicted to come back, because there's a lot of sugar, processed food, high fat content, a lot of sodium that makes you addicted to the food. But it's also to create top of mind brand awareness. And top of mind brand awareness, why McDonald's is literally everywhere, so that you don't stop thinking about McDonald's, so that when you're driving around and you see McDonald's ads everywhere, even 5 minutes after you're past the ad, sometimes when you're hungry, what are you going to think about? Oh, there's a McDonald's over there. Oh, I should go to the McDonald's, just incredibly subconsciously. So these companies know the power of top of mind brand awareness, and they're everywhere with their top of mind branding awareness. That's why McDonald's does an insane amount of ads and an insane amount of marketing, because they know the power of top of mind brand awareness, and they know that this is how they get people into the door. A lot of it is very old school, but McDonald's is also one of the top companies for retargeting and advertising, digital advertising. So because they know that it's the cheapest and best way to do this. And the cheapest and best way to do this is through Facebook. And why do you think these companies want you to download their free app for a sandwich? Like, that was one of the big marketing things a year or two ago, was to download this app in order for you to get a free sandwich or whatever. And now this app is on your phone forever. And McDonald's can retarget you all the way up to 6 months. Even if you delete the app, McDonald's can still retarget you on Facebook and through various different social media platforms because you downloaded that app. And so it was literally just them giving up a $2 sandwich for you to be retargeted for 6 months. That was the trade, and to give up your data for 6 months. So yeah, people are like, oh, the free sandwich, like free food. Like, everyone loves free food, but it's just a marketing ploy in order for, because they know that when they when they lose that $2 for that sandwich, they know that they can retarget you every single day for the next 6 months on Facebook, because there's an app function in Facebook where you can retarget people who used an app. Like, it's just genius. Honestly, it's just, people want to say it's evil genius, but it's really just great marketing and great business planning, and it's a great offer as well. So yeah, that's the best way that I can to explain top of mind brand awareness. And this is why the growth potential of paid traffic is huge. Through data collection, through retargeting, and creating lookalike audiences, as well as remaining top of mind for brand awareness. That's why these brands utilize all this stuff. And it's incredibly powerful. And this is why I have an ad agency, because I understand and I utilize this with my current clients. And it's easy for me to explain this because I've done this so many times explaining this to people. But this is why I'm so sold on a paid traffic agency instead of other agencies. Not to degrade other agencies, of course, or other business structures for agencies, website agency, SEO agencies, all those sort of firms, not to degrade or say that they're not worth as much. I just think that having a paid traffic agency is the most powerful way to grow and scale a business, 100%. Building an online agency has changed my life, and it'll change yours as well. So these are the action steps for module 1, video 4 is check out my free SMA training if you want to learn a bit more on the paid traffic side of the agency. This is my old offer. So the majority of people that are going through this program, you guys probably went through the 7-day training, business training. So yeah, this is the offer that I had previously, that I went a lot more into social media marketing and in-depthness of social media. So you can click right here, and it'll take you to a YouTube playlist where I have, I think, 7 or 8 videos, and it's just literally just free social media marketing training for like paid traffic specifically. So you can check that out. And the other action step, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And you guys can turn post notifications on, because I have a whole other tips and marketing tips and all that sort of stuff that is on there. So yeah, I hope that this module was incredibly valuable. And I hope that this has allowed you to really examine your abs and so that you can get them as strong as possible, so that you can attract clients with your abdomen. So yeah, thank you for checking out this video, and I will see you in video 5.
Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through to the last end bit of the abs video from Agency Supremacy. Like I mentioned, I'm offering until the end of October, so depending on when you're watching this video, October 31st, Agency Supremacy will be 50% off. And the link for it is going to be down in the description and in the comment section as well. So you can check it out there. It's good until October 31st for a 50% discount. Not sure if I'm going to be ever doing this type of discount ever again. But yeah, you can check it out. Get a 50% discount to Agency Supremacy down in the description as well as in the comment section down below. And be sure to like this video if you got some value from it. Subscribe down over here if you want to follow me on my agency owner adventures or whatever it's called. But or get some more tips from social media marketing all through my YouTube channel. All of it's free forever through YouTube. So yeah, if this is getting a little too long at the end. Kind of tired. That's why I got my AirPods in. I just was wrapping up a client call shortly before making these videos. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.